Today's a bit of a surprise because I wasn't expecting to see SandLand on Disney Plus, but here we are going to talk about it, so let's get into it. So if people remember, I did do a review on the manga itself, and I was actually really interested to see when they announced the movie, and also the demo's out right now. They announced that recently too, so that's awesome. I'm going to be checking that out probably soon. But right now, let me tell you the comparison from the book to the show is actually really good. They really follow the book most of the time, even though they did add a little bit to it because it is a series, not just the movie. It's actually a bit of an improvement. I'm gonna be completely honest. But anyways, yes, if you are curious about the manga itself, you can check that out itself. Because like I said, there are moments in the show that are slightly different than what's in the manga. Like, I will point out, like, one thing. When they get the console and games, it's supposed to be PlayStation 6 and Dragon Quest 13. So, you can tell there's a little difference from the show to that, but maybe it's because of maybe the licensing, or maybe they just can't say it in general. Not entirely sure. But, there's small little nitpicks here and there that aren't in the show. So, if you want to check out the manga, I do recommend it. Actually, get the book, or find someone that has the book online. I don't know. Anyways, if you want to enjoy the manga, go for it. Now, the first thing, like I said, comparison is great to the show. It is amazing how they interpreted the manga to the show or movie in general, because this was the movie and they just broke it down. But even though it was broke down from the movie, it's still good either way. They really made sure how to cut certain parts of the episode, so it really fit very well on the endings and that. So I'm glad they didn't just cut it and then say here's this, here's this, here's this, and then just leave it from there. But the one thing I will say though is I'm not entirely sure if they did this because of the game or where the case may be, but there is a last episode that has nothing to do with the original manga. And the way the show ends is a great way where they should have just left it instead of saying there's more to this story than there should be. Like I said, I don't know if they're just doing this because of the video game that's coming out for SandLand very soon, which does kind of cover that. So I'm not entirely sure why they kind of left that first episode randomly as a cliffhanger, because I feel like maybe they're going to address that maybe in the video games. Not entirely sure why, if that's going to be the case. But if they are going to make a season 2 to SandLand, then that's great. That's awesome. Go for it. Because as a person who's a fan of Dragon Ball, this show is up there at this point. That show is probably one of Akira Toriyama's other best work that he has done. And I recommend anybody to go check it out. Legit. Check out the show. It's so good. But even though that's the downfall of it, I will say the one biggest thing that I think is really amazing was where they added a little extra in the show, because the way it ends in a perfect way where you want the main character to literally just show that aggression and emotion into it and just give it to the bad guy the way it should have been. And I love how they just performed it well. It was perfect. I felt the emotions. Literally the way the guy was struggling to not kill this man. He showed it so much when the enemy was on the ground, just laying there defenseless and wondering if he is going to die right there, right now. And you could tell the look on the character's face when they do the flashbacks, everything just going through his mind all at once, because this man destroyed the main character's life. So I'm really happy that they have a different ending, different performance to it. They definitely just knew how to take an old manga and say, yes, this is the ending to the original version of the manga, but can we make it a little bit more interesting or make it better, or whatever the case is. And they brought their A game when they did this. 100%, it was so good for that. But I will say though, if I'm gonna give this a rating like I normally do with the mangas, I will give this an 8.5 out of 10. It would have been a 9 personally, but if it wasn't for the random episode that we get at the end, I was like, okay, that's cool, a new chapter. I was like, are we getting another episode after that? And then it just ends right there. I had all these emotions and I felt great because where the manga left off, that's where it's supposed to be. And you gave me a random episode of what? Like I said, if they made a season 2 for the show, that's great. That's awesome. I'm okay with that, but you should have just left it on episode 6. It should have stopped there. There should have been no 7th episode. I would have just said, hey, we're not doing this right now. But I get it if they're trying to make it more interesting, or like I said, they're trying to make that episode for the video games, or where the case may be. If you're doing it for marketing or whatever that is, that episode exists for some weird reason, that is where I would start being a little concerned as a person who's producing the show, or technically was the movie at the time before they chopped it up, of course. But that's where you should think and go, should we leave it here or continue the story? And I don't mind if they continue the story in the video games and they said, hey, there's another chapter to this, and then, maybe give off a little bit, maybe like a few months from now or a year from now, and like say, hey, we're making a season 2, or even announce it like a few days after, kind of like how some shows do, like One Piece or whatever the case is. That is totally understandable. If you did that, that's great, that's awesome. But don't just randomly make an episode where it leaves it on a cliffhanger, and you know for a fact that you want to see more of this show because it doesn't explain anything. Who the fuck is this angel dude? This angel guy's bad, that's all I know. But what else is he? He's a stubborn angel. He doesn't care about anything. He only cares for himself. And he doesn't like Beelzebub. So I'm not entirely sure exactly like what his motivation is or anything. He's just some random character that popped up, and I just was like, he's an annoying character. Why is he here? And then all of a sudden they show at the end of the episode that, oh, he's with the bad guy. What a coincidence. But overall, the show is good. And like I said, if you go from episode 1 to episode 6 and don't even watch the last episode, you'll be fine without it. 100%. You don't even have to check out that episode. If they stopped at episode 6, I would have been like, this is perfect. This is literally probably like a 9, 9.5 and all that. But also too, like I said, there are moments, little small nitpicks that I would have loved to see in it. But I get it. Sometimes things have to change, of course, in the movies compared to the books. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hit a like for more. Subscribe if you're new, of course. I got 2 more videos to go after this. So if you want to come on a roller coaster with me for the next 2 episodes, just come and join me. Just stick it around. I guess subscribing does help. I will point that out. But other than that, I'll see you guys, of course, in the next videos. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.